Hi guys, welcome back. Here's another battle report for you. This time it's a Horde Things battle report, and it's my Celts taking on the Wood Elves. We should have quite a few of these battle reports coming up, considering it's our Game League couple of months of Hordes of Things. So without further ado, I'll go into the army lists. The Wood Elves have a Blade General, Blade, 2 Spear, 2 Shooter, 3 Knights, which are the Stag Riders with Spears, 1 Rider with the Bow Stag Rider, and the Behemoth Treeman. My Celts are the same as always. 6 Warband, 1 of them a General, 2 Shooter, 2 Rider, and my Giant. My opponent is pretty new to the game, and unfortunately in this game he does have an extra base, but I didn't catch on to this until the end of both games. So I'm playing at a slight disadvantage, but to a new player, so it all balances out. So on my left, my opponent's right flank, he's got his 3 Knights up there, and everything else is wedged on the right hand side. So he's got his Treeman there, his 3 Blade, the centre one being his General, the 2 Spear, 2 Bow, and on the far side just his Rider. So on my right I've got my Giant and my 6 Warband, with the General as always in the middle centre front, and my Riders on the far left, and my Shooters in the woods as what they seem to always do. So my opponent moves up in his first turn, right across the board. His Knights move down my left flank, and in my turn I hold my Riders back and push my Shooter up, just to try and distract his Treeman. And the rest of my horde moves forwards, with the General at the front. I decided to bring my Giant round to my left hand flank, simply because my opponent's Treeman, if he gets into my Warband, it's all over for them. So if I can just pin him down with some Shooter and try and bring him into the forest so he's out of my way, I might be able to engage him on even ground with my Giant, and that'll just make sure my Warband's safe to have a go at the Blade. Then at the end of both of our bounds, we're looking something like this. He's managed to move the other guys up in the woods. I've chucked my Shooter right out front there to make it a real tempting target, because obviously he quick kills me, but I'd rather to lose my Shooter now, just to draw the Treeman away and into the woods, where I at least got the counter attack with both my Giant and my other Shooter unit. So in the following bounds, my opponent moves up, as you can see. He also sends the Treeman into that first Shooter that I brought up front to distract him. Worked a treat, he wiped him out and stepped forward, so he's then into terrain. So on my turn I move up my Warbands, and I bring up my Giant to try and counterattack the Treeman. And in the meantime I charge my other Shooter, simply because in this case I'll be a 4 versus 2, so there's a good chance I can at least kill him. And I know he's got quick kill, but I thought it would be worth the risk. And here's just a shot of the table, showing you how it's looking. Unfortunately, I lose my dice roll against the Treeman, and I get wiped out there. The only advantage being that with the pursuit, he's pushed his Treeman well behind my lines, and he's slowed down in the terrain. So I've got my Giant there just to stop him coming back and attacking my Warband, where he'll do a lot of damage. And if all else fails, I've got my Cavalry there to also slow him down. So on my opponent's turn, he decides to get involved, got a few dice, and decides to reform his lines so they're all strong. And in my turn, I just all push towards his lines. Seeing that the Treeman's got to turn around in the terrain, and only has a 2-inch movement, it'll take him a while to catch up to the main battle line. So with my Giant, I just moved him on, ready to help support the Warband in the centre. In my following bound, his bound, he moves up. I think he moves up his warriors, as you see, and moves up the spins the Treeman round. He then also has a go and decides to charge my Warband. He's got nothing to lose, he reckoned. I was going to give it a go against him. And here's just a close-up of the centre. And this is just a shot of my cavalry just coming in on the left-hand side there. I'm going to try and use them just to support my Warband against the Blade. With the advantage of an overlap, I should be able to wipe out the Blade pretty quick. In the combats, I don't win one of them, and I'm pushed back across the board and managed to get a draw with my other Warband. Not quite what I had planned, but hopefully with the support of my cavalry I'll be able to break him next turn. So in my bound I managed to go in and kill off his General. Obviously he's already wiped out 2 of my bases, so it doesn't automatically break his army. So I'll be still fighting for the rest of it. In my opponent's bound, obviously it's costing him 2 pips per element now due to the loss of the general. But he swings his bowman to take on my flank. In the combat, unfortunately, I lose those 2 warband. So in the following turn, I decide to multiple charge. I swing my general round to take on one of his warbands, and I charge in with my other guys against his other blade. It should have a nice quick kill there. And also, I have a 4 to 4 against his archers, so I thought it was a pretty safe bet. I'll chuck in my giant there for a nice quick kill. And this is what it looks like at the end of my bound. I wiped out both units of blade, but as you can see, yep, my opponent managed to roll a 6, and I rolled a 1, which meant my giant was killed by some lowly archers. That was slightly depressing, and because of that, I've also lost 8 points of other troops. So that's my 12, my army broke, and I lost the first game. That was a shame. So this time we're on to game 2, and I'm on the offensive. My opponent's set up on the right hand side with his camp. It's that little wooded area with a tent in. Now you'll probably see it better later. This was after my first bound, I believe. I'll just have a quick run through where everything is. So on my opponent's left flank, he's got his treeman. He's got 2 archers, 3 blade, I believe, and yeah, I don't think his spear is there. Spear's supporting his knights, so he's got 3 knights in a row. And finally his rider out on the far flank. So I have my big block of warband supported by my giant, and in the centre is my general as always. And off to my left are my riders and my 2 shooters. So I moved up this hill previously, and in my opponent's turn he just moved up with everything as well. In the following turn I push up with my riders, just to pin one of his knights and try and break his knights away from my main lines, because again, knights have got quick kill against me, so there's no advantage me sending my warband against them. So hopefully with a bit of luck my riders will draw some knights out where I'm pretty much even on taking them on. And here's just a shot of my warband moving up to engage his main elves. During my opponent's bound, he does as I hoped and charges one of his knights against my riders. So there we're pretty even. This also causes his base to swing round as well, so if he is pushed back, he goes into his own troops and is killed. He also brings his rider up, just keeping at a distance of a move and shoot from my shooters. While on the other flank, he keeps his troops in line and brings his treemen around to get ready to flank my warband if I want to have a go at his warriors. Jumped up on a couple of bounds here. During the last couple of bounds, the guy who charged into me I did defeat, and he backed up and got wiped out. I then charged the other unit of knight in the flank and defeated them as well. So it's looking good on this left flank here. This is just an overview of how it's looking. Now you can see my opponent's also brought his rider in to engage my riders from behind. So my turn, I push forward with everything. I try and take out that last knight. I also push up my warband. I leave a pair of warband at the back, really just to stop his treemen coming in messing up my lines. If he ends up charging these guys and destroying them, I'm not too worried about it, as long as I can just draw them away from my main fighting line really. And also up and behind the riders, I've got my shooter there as well. And with a bit of marvellous dice rolling there, I'll wipe out his rider. Unfortunately, his knight holds, and across the lines, my guys now just wait for the inevitable charge. He uses a spearman to help support the knight that's in combat, and it seems to help because once again we end up with a draw, and I don't go anywhere, neither does he. So in my bound, I push forwards and take on the blade and the general, and with a better luck I do take them both out, and with that I win the game. So that's how it looked at the end of the game. As you can see there, his Poxy Knight actually beat my rider after all that and pushed me back. But with his general dead and me wiping out more than he's wiped out of me, it was a win to the Celts. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. There should be more coming up soon. Find out more of what I do at my blogspot at celtcanobblogspot.co.uk. I do some reviews and other bits and bobs on there, so feel free to have a look on there. And until the next time, take care everyone. Thou Willis.